Good evening and welcome to our first public hearing on the FY '22 budget. Today is Tuesday, May 25th. If you are joining us virtually to comment during the public comment portions of the meeting, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom. With that, we'll turn it over to Wes for our presentation of the FY '22 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners, citizens of Oconee County. I come before you tonight to present your FY 2022 budget. Our priorities, the FY 2022 budget is sustainable and balanced. We've taken a conservative approach due to the uncertainty in the current environment that we're operating in. The budget is driven by the mission statement and the following strategic goals: smart government, smart growth, smart infrastructure, and quality of life. We want to establish institutional operating practices that meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In a snapshot for the fiscal year 22, again, we're in fiscal year 21. This fiscal year will end June 30th, and then on July 1st, we'll begin fiscal year 22. Our proposed general fund budget is $32,691,229. That is up $1,443,337 from the current budget of $31,247,892. The proposed total budget, which includes SPLOS, general fund, special revenue, and our enterprise funds, is $58,461,169. In addition to these two budgets that you are being presented tonight, you also have been given the fee schedule, which will also be published on the Oconee County website. Any fee changes are highlighted in yellow. Our overall revenue summary: the gross digest is trending upward. Property values have increased. Revenue projections are strong. Our current millage rate is currently at 6.686, and revenue projections could accommodate a potential millage rate rollback. The FY 22 budget remains strong with its financial strength through its fund balance and the stability of the county through its millage rate. For expenditure summary, we're going to execute our strategic plan, which was recently established by resolution and voted upon. That strategic plan requires no fund balance usage for the fiscal year 2022. The water and sewer infrastructure plan will be executed, as well as transportation maintenance and improvements, commitment to our public safety programs, continuation of our fleet replacement program, strategic maintenance of facilities, also keeping up with the healthcare costs, and increased resources towards employee training, with an overall net reduction in full-time employees within the governing authority. Our proposed SPLOS budget. Overall, $11,030,857. Now, I provided you a handout, and I'm going to go over this in detail. It gets a little complex here. We've got several SPLOS at hand, and the total of these SPLOS equal the $11,030,857. So without further ado, 04 SPLOS is $126,300 remaining. That's going to go towards the administrative building. SPLOS 15, we're going to finish off the GO bond debt payment for that SPLOS. We're going to finish off water sewer projects, roads, streets, and bridges projects, fire rescue, historic scenic facilities, the library at $1,300,000, county facilities, economic development, law enforcement vehicle replacement at $276,000, to upgrade to technology and within facilities, and then the municipality distributions. Completed projects that we've already completed and we're calling complete on the 2015 referendum include farmland protection, civic center facilities, animal services facilities, and recreational facilities. Projects that are scheduled, I just listed that we anticipate to be complete at the end of fiscal year 2022. There's a little bit of programming for SPLOST 2021 for a fire rescue vehicle for $150,000 and municipality payout for the cities in the community. All those total $11,030,857. When I bring forward the fiscal year 23 budget this time next year, we'll just be programming funds anticipated just for one SPLOST, which is the 2021 SPLOST. Fiscal year 22, the upcoming year, is a crossover year for SPLOST, meaning that we will collect the final quarter of SPLOST funds for 15, and then we'll collect 9 months of the new SPLOST that was recently voted by the voters, and that'll be 9 months of that. FY22 proposed general fund revenues. We have a pie chart. Pie chart illustrates the anticipated revenue by fund source. So property taxes in there at 55%, local option sales tax at 22%, charges for services, which is typically judicial fees, 6%, other type taxes, 11%, license and permits, 2%, grants, 2%, fines and forfeitures, 1%, and then 1% of investment sales. The general fund revenues are at $32,691,229. Again, that's a 4.62% increase from this time last year, the current budget that we have. And that's illustrated with your bar graph and your pie chart showing the sources. Our FY22 general fund expenditures presented in the same format in a pie chart. This illustrates the proposed expenditures by department. Sheriff's Office, 27%, which includes law enforcement, jail, E911, Public Works at 16%, Parks and Rec at 9%, Public Safety at 6%, which includes animal services, fire, EMA. And then you have the various smaller pieces of the pie. Proposed expenditures represent a 4.62% increase over previous year. Again, net reduction in employees. Some of the increases are inflationary. Healthcare, would be in there. That's inflationary. That budget for healthcare has been streamlined to include more choices and options for employees. That effort resulted in an 8% net increase overall for healthcare. Again, that budget is balanced and using existing revenue streams. Transportation infrastructure is a major focus in 2022, specifically paved roads, streets, and asphalts. Road maintenance repair, 575, capital major paving, 300,000, LMIG, 613,663, SPLOST, 1.6 million, and all that totals for 3.09 million. And again, in a quest for continuously improvement in fire readiness, this budget includes state-of-the-art fire equipment and a new fire engine. These items will be purchased using SPLOST funds. And also our fleet phase replacement, which would replace vehicles that are already in our system based on mileage, equipment hours, and general overall condition. The phase replacement program is updated quarterly, which helps our fleet remain healthy. This is in a different format. This shows the 32,692,000 by department. So you can see the various entities there and the amounts. Proposed total budget revenues. So these are the revenues for our total budget. As I alluded to earlier, the total budget is includes the enterprise fund, the sales tax component, and the general property tax fund. So you'll see those categories. You see water and sewer, which is also in the family of enterprise fund. Also included in the enterprise fund is your solid waste division and your civic center. You have your sales tax, your SPOS in there at 11 million, local option sales tax at 7, charges for services, other taxes, grants, license and permits, investment income, all total 56,917,124. And it's represented in a pie chart there as well. The pie chart illustrates property taxes at 32%. Water and sewer at 19%, SPOS at 19%, and local option sales tax at 13%. Total expenditures represented. Total expenditures, again, on the entire budget represents general fund, enterprise fund, SPOS, special revenue, and capital projects. General fund of which is 32.69 million. The pie chart illustrates by fund, 50% of the expenditures coming from the general fund, 23% coming from the enterprise funds, which are water resources, solid waste, civic center, 19% from SPOS, 7% from special revenue. Special revenue entails senior center, law library, confiscated assets, donated funds, victim services, E911 funding, grants, streetlight district, and hotel sales tax, and that totals 3,914,286. And then 1% of that is capital projects, and that includes the fleet vehicle replacement program, major paving equipment, and servers for the IT department. So the capital project funding was $680,000. In summary, the general fund revenue and expenditures, 32,691,229, a 4.62 increase. Our total budget is 58,461,169. That's a 9.65 increase. Again, this budget supports the county's strategic plan and accommodates a potential to reduce the current millage rate. This budget will be presented for adoption on June 1st at the regular BOC meeting at 6 p.m. I believe you have the fee schedule and the capital listing. If there are any other documents that I can provide, all these documents will be posted on our county website, placed at the library, and also at the clerk's office in the morning. If there are any questions that I could ask of anybody, I know a lot of time has went into this, and we're getting down to the final throes of it here. So June 1st, I'll come before you and ask for request adoption.
Go ahead. Just curious, Wes, if you help.
Yes, sir.
Our revenue from SPOS, I think it was 19%.
Yes, sir.
So how does that sit with, in comparison to other counties? Or would you have to have an exact county like us? I'm just curious how.
Of the 153 counties, there's vast differences. We're fortunate in we have a shopping district here, which is now a regional shopping district, which has store anchors. So I would say that we're not unique, but we're not in the majority of counties which maybe thrive on fuel sites or truck stops or stuff along the interstate corridor. We don't have any of those things, but we do have that retail shopping district up on Epps Bridge. So that carries the day, and we have a wide variety of restaurants. We're fortunate in that manner.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from commissioners? I got a couple on the
Yes, sir.
So the SPOS 15, the budget there will exhaust the 2015 and complete all the projects that were approved
Yes.
by the voters with that budget.
Yes, so that would exhaust the funding, the program funding for those projects. I'm requesting to call the farmland protection, the civic center, the animal services facility, and the recreational improvements complete at this time. And then when I come before you this time next year, call the remaining projects complete. And that would include the water, sewer, road, streets, and bridges. And then we would start with a clean slate on SPOS in the following year, which is fiscal year 2023.
And the only thing we're taking out of 21 SPOS is for a fire vehicle and distributions to the city. Is that correct?
That's correct. We have to we distribute some of the funding to the cities based on population. And we do so monthly when we receive our distribution. So we'll still have to budget for that. And that will allow us to accumulate some funding in the 2021 SPOS, approximately 9 months, to prepare for the 2023 budget. And then that will cease us reporting on other outstanding projects that we've had to over the years. So we're excited about that. And, that's with, weather cooperation and a lot of other factors, but we do anticipate that these projects will be complete next year.
Very good. Thank you. All right, with that, we'll open up to any public comments at this time. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you. My name is Mark Campbell. My address is 2551 Oliver Bridge Road. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Oconee County Library Board, and I'm here to say thank you. I appreciate the support of Oconee County for the 2 Oconee County library branches. There have been a couple of times during the last fiscal year where there were needs of the library, and those needs were immediately met by the county and by their staff. And I appreciate that. So I wanted to come here tonight to personally thank you for that. It's been a challenging year, which you all know, and we appreciate the decisions that you've made. You have a lot of responsibilities and a balancing act that you always have to do, specifically when it comes to budget time. So I thank you again for your support. The library could not do what it does without your support. And we are talking about budget, so I will mention budget. We had a great meeting. I appreciate the monies that have been allocated for the next fiscal year, and I'm not here tonight to ask for any more money, but I'm also not here tonight to ask for any less money. But I know that y'all have a lot of things that you're working through, and I appreciate your continued support of the library. And the library is open, in case you're wondering. The hours of the library are the full hours currently the same as they would have been in 2019. So please come out, visit both library branches, and I'll be happy to answer any questions y'all might have as well.
Very good. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Dan McGee, Loch Lomond Circle, here to thank you all for 2 things. Senior Center expansion, making the match for that to, I think, approximately 10% match to get the grant funds. Senior Center need expansion, so thanks for allowing the matching part of it. And more importantly, I have 20+ years of city and county budgeting. It's rare you have an opportunity to make a moral or ethical decision with budgeting, and you all did. You decided not to charge the school system for their use of county facilities for athletics. And you could have charged them, have that go to your revenue, and you chose not to, which was the right thing to do. It's unfortunate the school system is going to charge approximately $200,000 eventually for use of their facilities for our youth. And there'll be a surcharge we have to put on Parks and Rec. It's unfortunate. No one else in Northeast Georgia does it. But you all made a choice. You made a choice not to charge a school system to use county parks recreation facilities for school athletic programs. It was the moral and right thing to do. Big, big props for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone virtually? Very good. Anyone else wish to make a public comment on the budget? So, as Wes mentioned, basically our growth that we have in this budget from property tax levy is roughly 4.2%. The digest approved by the tax assessor board 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago. wasn't it? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, shows off a 7.1 or 2% increase. So that additional percentage will be available for rollback. Our millage rates are due to the Department of Revenue by September 1st. So our goal would be to have a tax millage levy hearings and adoption schedule July 6th at 6 p.m., July 27th at 6 p.m., and then August 3rd, we'd have a 5:30 hearing with adoption at the BOC meeting. That is dependent on getting some information from the tax commissioner's office that Holly will be working with the tax commissioner to get those ads run. I think it's a really strong budget. Everybody worked really well together throughout this. We've increased training for our employees in this budget, increased funding for roads and bridges, and also for preventive maintenance as well as phase replacement of our assets. So really strong budget. It's been exciting time to kind of go through that. And thanks to Wes, we've been beating him up pretty good over the last several weeks. And Miss Donna's back there. Everybody knows she's the one that stays here all night long working on it. So thank you, Miss Donna, for all your hard work. So if there are no other questions, comments, or emotional outbursts, then we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. We'll be back here at 6 o'clock for our regular scheduled meeting. Thank you.
That's not.
Good evening and welcome to the Oconee County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 25th. If you're joining us virtually, to comment during the public comment portions of the meeting, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom. After a moment of silence, we're going to ask Holly Stevenson to lead us in the pledge. Please stand. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our next item of business will be to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is any statement and remarks from citizens. This is for anything that is not on our agenda for tonight. Anyone virtually? Thank you. Any statements or remarks from commissioners?
No,
I got one
Yes, sir.
question. What's the status on this, that speed limit survey that was done a few weeks ago out on Union Church Road? What's the status of that?
That was, the data was collected and it's been sent to GDOT to ask them for their opinion on the results of that speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on GDOT.
Yes, yep. Once we get that, and we've had several roads that have been mentioned over the past year. And so we're going to sit down and kind of go through all of them, and then we'll be able to come to the board with some kind of policy decisions about how to handle those in the near future.
Yeah, if I can add on to that, because we purchased those mobile signs, we're able to, they collect data while they do it. So we're having sort of this rolling process of data collection. And it's hitting the point now where we're gonna put together a package, and then we're entering into the kind of policy choice decision once we kind of get there. So, once we kind of have that compiled, we should probably see that the next month or so, something we can present to the board, say, you know, what's the pleasure with, here's the pros and cons of going these different directions.
Yes, sir. Also like to announce that the Oconee County government will host a town hall meeting on Wednesday, June 16th, and this will be at 6 PM at the Oconee County Civic Center. This will be held in the Performing Arts Theater and will be open for both in-person and virtual attendance. Town hall meetings are your opportunity to kind of meet with commissioners and ask anything you want to ask. Also, very exciting day tomorrow at 10 o'clock at the animal shelter. Leash unclipping is what they're calling it, ceremony to mark the official completion and unveiling of the renovations done. So they've done a lot of work. Looks really good. So it's going to be an exciting time.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to also say this has been going on for, I don't know how many years, get to tomorrow.
Yes.
And I want to compliment everybody that had something to do with it. I remember when we started out years ago, Jim Luke and I were pushing to get something done. We got, I think it was like $69,000. And I thought we had really done something. And then I think the recession hit, things got put on hold, but the issues remain. And I just want to compliment everybody, the citizens, anybody that had anything to do with it. Because it's come a long way.
Yeah. And the board made some really good decisions too, to take fund balance and general fund money to put with that SPOS money to kind of, because we got really close and there were some last minute things that put us over the top. And so appreciate your support for that. Our next item is discuss a memorandum of agreement with the city of Watkinsville for the Oconee County Library. Everybody's received a copy of the MOU. Basically, this states that the city retains ownership of the building and is responsible for all costs of the exterior of the building. The county pays 100% of the electricity for the location. And then the county and the city will split 50-50 any maintenance and operation costs for the interior portions of the building. SPOS 15 will be providing $1.3 million for the library project. We were up to a few months ago, we're projecting 1.2 million, but thanks to some extra collections that came in last month, we were able to go to the full 1.3 as we talked about. The agreement's been reviewed by the county attorney and has already been adopted by the Watkinsville City Council. So if anybody has any questions on the details of the MOU. Yes, sir.
All right, well, Mr. Chair, on at the bottom of page 2 of the memorandum, it talked about a project committee
Yes.
and that it would undertake the task of managing the renovations. But it also mentioned it consists of 3 representatives from each of the parties, that being the city, the county, and the library system.
Yes.
All right, so who will be representing the county?
We haven't got there yet, but if you're interested,
No.
thank you for volunteering.
No, I had a suggestion.
Okay.
So when you get to that point, I didn't know if it was going to have to be a county official or it could be private citizens. That's my
I think
question.
it can be either, when we went through Bogart, I think there were 1 or 2 commissioners and a couple other people, but I think that's really up to us to kind of decide how we want us to put the representative on there.
But as far as there's 3 representatives, so there'll be, my math's still right, that's gonna be 9 people on that committee.
Yes.
Okay.
I had to
That
think a
wasn't a
minute.
trick question.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
When we
Okay.
get to that point,
absolutely.
I may have a suggestion.
All right.
Thank
you. Yes, sir. Any other questions? I'll be all right for consent agenda for this item.
Yes, sir.
Any public comment? Anyone virtually? Thank you. Next item is discuss a resolution for the naming of an open records officer. As you know, our county clerk was kind enough to come back with us one more time. but she is retiring and she has been our open records officer for many years and done a great job at it. And so with her departure, we need to name a new open records clerk, and we're going to do that with Miss Holly Stevenson. She's going on taking over as county clerk. So any questions on that item? Be all right for consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Any public comment? Anyone virtually? Thank you. Next item is discuss contract amendments for the Eagle Tavern project. Alex?
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight, I wish to present an update on the Eagle Tavern Foundation Restoration Project and request your approval for a contract modification with Garland, our contractor for the project. Like with many historic building projects, once work begins on the project, unknown unknowns emerge and need to be dealt with. So as a part of this project, Garland had to remove the porches on the front and the back of the building to get at the foundation itself. When the porches were removed, we discovered that not only the siding, but the foundation beams themselves were rotted by water damage and what looked like some termite damage. So PPI, the engineer we worked with for the project on the beginning of it, they worked with the Garland to develop a plan to replace and repair parts of the beams that were damaged. And so we could proceed with the rest of the project. This overall plan included the 3 items that are on the list tonight. That includes repairing and replacing the damaged parts of the wooden support beams on the front and back, the placement of a steel plate to support the beam on the left-hand side of the building, and replacement of the siding that we had to remove due to the water damage. This is over and above the original work planned, and the overall cost of this extra work material is $27,669, which brings the total contract amount up from $422,000 up to $449,669. This amount includes the total amount for both the Eagle Tavern and the Central Schoolhouse foundation work. As for the funding source for this contract modification, the original source of funding was using the rest of the 09's lost historic funds and some general fund money. But for this particular contract modification, we recommend using the 2015 historic SPLOST funding, which would require the approval of a budget amendment to use that. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions on that?
Nope.
Very good. Be all right for consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Any public comment on this item? Anyone virtually? Thank you. Next item is discuss the award of the Community Development Block Grant Construction Contract for the Senior Center.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an exciting time. Our architect, Carter Watkins, has assisted us. We went out to hard bid for the expansion of the senior center. The low bid came back. Current low bidder was Bain Development Group with a base price of $763,737. Of course, this is over the CDBG $750,000, which also includes some of the architect's fees. So the balance would be covered by the senior center existing fund balance on Mary's side. We would request moving forward with the approval of $763,737 to Bain for the senior center expansion project. I would also request similarly, the hard bid was straight with no additional contingency, an additional 5% contingency of $38,186 to hold, so I don't have to come back to the board if they find some of these minor things. Wouldn't go directly to Bain without some specific change order it's attached to it, but then a 5% contingency on top of that final dollar amount. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Justin on that? Very good. Be all right for consent. Any public comment? Anyone virtually? Thank you. Next time is discuss the design services contract for the administrative building.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an update and potential of bringing you a contract next week. So we solicited an RFP, RFQ qualification-based process with for the administration building that would go for on the end near Watkinsville. We had 9 solicitations. The scoring panel has reviewed those. We have shortlisted based on qualifications. The final 4, we have just finalized our interviews with the 4 finalists. We will go through another round of scoring, and we hope to bring forward with you a firm for award. And this is what I call an all-in contract. We're asking the firm to do design of the architecture, the engineering, the MEP, landscaping, essentially bring us from raw land to occupancy. And as part of that, they'll also partner with us on the permitting and contract management. And not long after awarding this contract, we'll probably go out to the market to bring the construction manager at risk on early in the process to help us with the value engineering of the project. So anyway, just updating where we are. We're down to 4 qualified final firms. We'll do our final scoring, and we hope to bring you a contract next week, which obviously not on the consent agenda. Don't have numbers yet at this point.
Any questions on the process so far? Very good. With that, we do have need of an executive session to discuss personnel.
Make a motion, we adjourn for executive session to discuss personnel.
Second.
We have a motion second, all in favor? Thank you, motion carried. Very good. We need a motion to go back in regular session.
So moved.
We have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Saxon,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
we are adjourned. Thank you.